demonstrated that you may or may not have found, somewhere between 11 and 12,000 votes. I don't know. Forget all that. Come on, craft a chat with us. Put all that other stuff. That's a whole bunch of nonsense. Craft a chat with us because we got important stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about anticipated games that are coming out for 2021 because guess what? We got some pretty good looking gems on the horizon, Zero Dawn, perhaps. And it's shaping up to be a really good year, provided that everything that has been promised comes and shows up and gets the job done. We've had a lot of recent history being burned with promises by the video game industry, and we have discussed that, and we will discuss it again if it were to ever rear its ugly head again, but hopefully not. We will have the hopeful promise of 2021, and that will be the theme moving forward, and hopefully it does not get taken away. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's open it up to the panel. Panel, what have you been playing this past week?
I'll go first for this one. I actually was... oh boy, actually. I popped in a couple of my old games, actually, here, because I was going through my collection. So I was actually looking at all my old PS4 games, and I was going through my trophy list, and I'm like, there's a couple games here that I wasn't too far off in getting the platinum for. I was like, let me just go through the games and let me see what I have, what I can get. Not that I was still on a shortage of games because I still had what do you call it, Sackboy to play. So I was like, I could technically do that if I wanted to. But I was like, let me find another game that I can see if I can get this platinum real quick in. So I popped in Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Got the platinum in that. Was playing a little bit of a couple multiplayer games over the weekend. I had family over for the weekend, so we played a couple multiplayer games there. Played a little bit of VR, and that's what we're looking at. Give me actually 1 second here. We actually have a message from our viewer. Cork is actually back in our chat. Cork, the capybara.
Welcome.
And he actually just had a question for the panel. The Carson situation? Any opinions on the Carson situation? Do you want to, while Adam goes, do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that? Because I'm not even aware of what situation he's going through right now. I didn't hear anything about... Yeah, I didn't hear anything about Carson at all with his situation going on right now. But yeah, that's what I did for my games right now.
I am sending a link in the group chat about the Carson situation.
Carson situation, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Ooh, not good.
Oh God, what happened to him? Is this?
Well, we don't want to use some of the words. We don't want to use some of the words that are going to be in the article about him.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Let's check this out really quick.
Anyways, do you want to check that out? We can talk about that. Hey, Cork, by the way, we check that out.
Yes, we'll check that out. Check it out. For me, really quick, I'm talking about games that I've been playing. I've been playing Cyberpunk, and more to follow on that in my segment later on in the podcast. But suffice it to say, I'm still putting in the wrench time for that game, and when it goes, it's fun. When it don't go, it's not so much fun. And I really haven't had a lot of time to get into anything else. I still have Ghost of Tsushima I really need to get into in earnest, specifically in the single player, because I've definitely enjoyed a decent amount of time so far with the boys in multiplayer, which is an absolute blast, and can't wait to play even more of that. But that's what I've been up to this past week.
I've been, some Ghost multiplayer. What else? I'm still playing Need for Speed Payback, even though I'm not having the best time in the world with it. I'm just too far in at this point to stop. I'll just go ahead and finish that real quick eventually. Slowly making progress. Did some VR stuff over the weekend. My dad was in town. I actually brought my VR and my PS4 Pro over to my sister's house, and my dad, he's for some reason more open to video games now. I mean, he played a little bit of Burnout on the GameCube back in the day, 2-player, but he's he's actually curious about it as a medium now. And after playing VR for most of the day, he wants one, and he wants a PS4, and yeah.
Wow.
So I sent him like links for bundles and stuff, and he's like, "Ah, that's not bad to buy it all. That's $700." I'm like, "All right, well, I guess we may think money differently." But yeah, he he's a big fan. Him, his girlfriend, even my older sister, she wasn't like a fan of Beat Saber or anything, but it was just funny how her being like, "Oh, this looks easy. How are you messing this up? Oh, you don't know what you're doing," and then her putting it on and being like, "Ah!" and just screaming at parts because it just feels like she's gonna get hit by blocks and stuff, and then she didn't realize arrows were going like you had to hit blocks in a certain direction.
Right.
So
Right.
it was just funny. And then she wasn't really into it until I pulled out a golf game that I have, and she actually crushed it at that. She did better than me, so she played that for a while. My dad played ping pong for about an hour, just going back and
Damn.
forth. One downside of VR, haven't really had this issue before. VR is great. It's cool if you want to do like if you want to bring VR to a party, highly recommend. Just to let everybody know, if you do that, you have to refigure the camera, you have to refigure the headset, you have to adjust it and everything. So it's kind of a
There's a
pain.
lot of things you got to do.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain, especially for that golf game. The golf game, to get my height, thankfully a lot of us are closer, like in height, so it was a little bit easier to figure out. But that golf game just would not understand anything. The ping pong game was annoying as hell, but then I found that you can actually change the player height in the game, and that ended up helping tremendously. But VR, if you have it, bring it to a party. Bring a cloth, some disinfectant wipes, because people sweat, so it's gross in
Right.
that way. But
That's
Be safe, everybody. Be safe.
yeah,
pro tips.
highly
Yeah, that's pro
recommend.
tips.
Highly recommend some VR for some party. So, and then he was
Big
like,
time.
can't wait to come back in town and play more. And then he wants to buy it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll keep everybody updated on that. But that's really
Right.
all I've been playing.
Gotcha.
I apologize. I didn't mention that we played Ghost as well. I totally forgot about that. It's been a little bit. It's been a minute since I've been on PlayStation. I was actually gone for like the entire weekend, and I'm like, what did I actually do last week? But yes, Ghost was also added to my list of what we were playing because we were all playing that. I had a minute to read on this thing just so I can answer Quark's question here, and we can get any opinions out about this thing.
Yeah, let's get into it. Yeah.
I was not aware of this situation at all. I don't even know when this story had developed because I'm usually on top of these things, especially with those the Twitch streamers like that or anything like that, because I follow Schlatt and people like that. So I didn't even realize that any of this had happened or transpired over the last couple days. Why I don't get this whole thing though. He was, I guess, in certain relationships with people who are potentially underage, who are, I guess, now not underage anymore. So originally when he was with them, they were less than 17, 16 years old, things like that, and now obviously they're a little older, but it was all due to I don't know, his Minecraft series or things like that. He was trying to get them into that. Is that what I'm understanding out of the situation?
Yeah, it's the imbalance of power. That's what the issue is. He's using his fandom to basically hook up with, I mean, legally, they're kids.
He just went through this thing with well, he didn't go through exactly this thing, but he just went through a whole thing with that girl from last year who had like the 6 boyfriends or whatever at the same time that she was dating him.
Oh yeah, I've read about that.
Claimed allegedly, alleged to be dating him. Why would you go and do something stupid like this when this is what you did? What happened to you last year with this person, and then you do something dumb like this? Like,
First of all,
Not the same thing.
well, it's
No,
right.
no,
It's,
I know.
it's not the same thing,
Yeah.
but also you also
No.
have to consider a little bit of that too. I mean, if you look at, I would say like your typical, social media influencer, streamer, professional, quote unquote, however you want to describe them. The archetype for that kind of person who is actually generating regular, reliable revenue through that platform is typically a younger person, perhaps even younger mentally and spiritually than they are in their bodies. And they that's one of their big connections to their audience is that youthful angle to it. They bring that youthful exuberance to whatever game that they're playing, they're pushing, they're influencing, what have you. And some of the best ones seem to obviously get out there and they lead the pack in the community in terms of visibility and discussion and what have you. But this, when I see stories like this, and we've seen them before, this is not
Yeah, it's not
anything
the
new.
first
Like this
time.
is,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
I know. It's like it's just another situation where
Wasn't there something similar
influencers,
with what's his name, Jared?
Yeah,
Jared. Yeah.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
right?
It's
Yeah,
the video game
Yeah.
nerd or whatever. Not,
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
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 Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah. That
yeah, yeah,
guy.
yeah.
yeah.
The one who went to the divorce with his wife or something with a polyamorous relationship or something like that. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah. But again, but I mean, it's just another situation with just describing the human condition. You know what I mean? You get people, you give them a little bit of a taste of power, of renown, of fame, a little bit of scratch. You know what I mean? People for the most part they don't really get that, and once they get put into a position of privilege like that, there's no guarantee that people are going to be able to handle that in an appropriate, measured way. And almost always, they take now again. This is I'm not trying to throw influencers and social media people under the bus in regards to that, but a situation like this is not surprising to me because we've seen it before and we seem to keep seeing it time and time again. So I'm not surprised by it. I'm just continuing to be disappointed by it. And I think the youth angle of who these folks are that plays a part. It doesn't explain or justify or rationalize any of it, but I think it plays a big part of it. And I would say that if these people were truly professional through and through about their craft, being influencers, being streamers, being so, they would have a deeper appreciation for what that means in the meta sense. Outside the game, outside their revenue stream, outside their fans and followers and what have you. If they really, really had an appreciation for what it is that they do, they wouldn't abuse their positions of privilege in the manner in which some have in the past. And perhaps if they had a little bit more life experience on their treads, they might be able to appreciate that. Because guess what? The alternative to generating enough income to live or to thrive in some cases is pretty humdrum jobs and lackluster opportunities for the most part. You know what I mean? That's out there in the private sector or public sector, what have you, wherever you can go. Well, whatever your gig is going to be to generate income, you need to go. So, man, I mean, if you're fortunate enough to do this kind of thing for a living, don't abuse your position, especially if you do it well and you're successful at it. Because people do they legitimately care what you have to say, and you might not think that that's a big deal for you because you're doing it because you presumably enjoy it and they enjoy listening to you do it. But yeah, man, it's not just all about you. It's not just all about you, and it's just a poor reflection on your peers at that point. And you get more of these types of examples chain linking together, and then you really start to unfortunately pump up that a brand new stereotype for a new class of people, where influencers now are gonna start to get a little bit of that side eye going on. It's like, what's this person up to? This person is playing this game and trying to pander to this audience in this way? Question marks. Again, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but it's just another disappointing situation, and I'd rather it didn't occur, but I'm not surprised that it does because of
So
who's involved.
there's a lot of like back and forth on this thing, and I'm just gonna like explain a couple little things in here, and maybe we can move on after that. I think that's unless Adam, you have another opinion you want to give on top of this afterwards, but I don't know, the person in question that they're talking about, or at least one of them, has a lot of different things that are being mentioned. So this comes straight from two of the members of that big group that they're all in.
Okay.
Apparently, two of the members had left, and due to this reason of knowing that this was going on, I think as early as last year or even 2019. But I think they had a confirmation from him. Personally, it was last year, but I think it was as early as 2019 this was going on. And I guess one of the girls who he was talking to, she said that the things that he told her were the advances that he was trying to make, was the red flags that were going off, and she just didn't say anything until now. She called him a pedophile and then apologized afterwards, saying, after watching Keemstar's video, saying that, oh, I was wrong in saying that. I shouldn't have said that. I used that word incorrectly. And the guys who left the group who brought this issue to light were saying that they didn't want to be a part of the group because of, I guess, what he had said he was doing. But he was 19... He's 20, I think, this year, or he's 20. He turned 20 last year. I don't know. I don't know the exact age. I'll confirm
Still
the
a
age and
baby.
everything.
Still a baby.
She was at the time 16 or 17. Now I think she's 18. I'm not 100% sure because there's a lot of conflicting numbers all over this place. I don't know. It was just again. Regardless of this, I don't understand, especially him. It seems a little bit out of character for somebody like him, because of the things he's personally gone through in the past, like the depression, the issues that he's had with other people, and usually the internet's been very very careful with him. His fan base has been very, very good with him, especially when he was going through the whole thing last year with that girl. Again, with the 6 boyfriends or whatever. So I don't know. There's a lot of things that are pointing to maybe this is attention stuff, and then there's other things that are pointing to, he actually did stupid things like this. Because the members of that group, the lunch club is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
They have they have their own careers as well, and they're not. I don't see why they would make this an issue for attention or views or anything like that.
Well,
It's just,
I mean, it could be, but until the internet
yeah.
is fickle
I didn't
enough.
see any response from him. I just see like pictures and stuff like that from him. Like there's a screenshot of a chat that he had with one of the people who was involved in this thing, and he was like, I feel horrible for what I did, and I don't want to lead you on and this and that. And I'm like, well, I don't know at this point in time. If that is the case, that he's doing these kind of stupid things, he shouldn't be, obviously, and he knows better than that, especially with everything he's gone through. I mean, if it's attention garnering people who want to get to him, everything is, I don't know. Some things seem coincidental, and some things just seem like, okay, there's an actual issue to be had here. But that's all I have on it at this point.
Adam, what do you think, Adam?
I think it's really too early to say anything, honestly. I found like 4 articles about this. They have all just repeated the same stuff from Drama Alert.
Yeah.
Drama Alert's not really the most respected outlet for anything. But there is proof of him being 19 talking to a 17-year-old, and then kind of like him kind of being like reprimanded for it at the what is it called, the lunchbox or whatever it's called, whatever.
Yeah, the lunch club. So where do you? So here's I have a question on that. Where do you? So if you're 19 and you're talking to a 17-year-old, isn't that like something that goes on as a normalcy in relationships nowadays? Is that something that's not
You're talking about
normal?
the real world or digitally?
The real world. I'll start with that, I guess. Maybe if you can give me your answer on that.
It can be, but again, it's very circumstantial. I mean,
Like,
there's no like clear cut taboo or clear cut normalcy to that kind of interaction.
yeah, age of
I mean, it's not
consent
like
varies, but also
Yeah,
right.
the real issue people are having with this, not only the age, is he's in a position of power.
yeah,
That's what
exactly
the
what
main
Adam's saying.
issue is. It's
And
not
it's an
like
Okay,
abusive
okay,
if
okay.
she was
it's abusive.
13, that would be the biggest problem with that. Just because
True.
she's 17 and he's 19 and a large YouTuber and this and like he has power
It's
over these people and
exactly.
Right.
it's what would be worrying if in the next couple weeks it comes out and he's done this with a few of them. Then that shows a pattern of behavior. Again, it's too
Hmm.
early to say anything. This seems like it was I mean, what he did was creepy. Like just reading through some of the stuff, it was like, all right,
Yeah,
well,
I read through some of the things, and
it,
it sounds like it's pretty bad on his end of what he did. But
yeah.
I just
What
it just seems out of character for him. But yeah,
when have you ever seen someone and you're like, yeah, okay, I mean, you could see some people and be like, okay, they look creepy, but like when you see someone that you like or think is funny or respect, especially somebody famous, and then you find out they did awful things, you're like, well, that's shock to me. And then you look back
like
on their
yeah,
behavior and you're like, well, he joked about it here and there and like that it happens all the time and it's
It
so
yeah,
does.
common
I can
now
see your point in
because
that. Yeah,
it's so common now because I mean everything these people especially do is recorded.
Yeah.
So and then in regards to like attention grabbing and stuff, I'm not going to even throw that option out there because
Yeah.
what what kind of attention are you gaining from this? You're
Yeah.
really only going to get hate. Some people feed off of that, like the Cash Me Outside girl, but she's not pulling out like assault stories or anything like that. She's
no,
just
no,
doing
no.
crazy stuff.
What
I know what you're saying, but
yeah,
at the same time, it's too
yeah.
early to even bring up like, well, they could be lying. Like it's way too early to
It's
say
just
that. They could be
yeah,
lying
yeah,
just to
yeah.
abuse this guy
That's
because
why
he's
that's why
had
I'm like
depression in the past,
there's
so he shouldn't be like that. Like, hold on, calm down, take a
right,
breath.
right,
Let's
right.
just, hey, if he did it, he should be removed from the platform, which he probably wouldn't be, because he
No,
shouldn't
he
have a
wouldn't.
platform, because that's just not
No,
how Twitch or YouTube or anything like that works. And if it's a one-off
right.
thing, like hopefully he can find a path and move on. But yeah, that's it's not too much yet to say, and we might talk about it soon. Hopefully we don't have to. Also, it's Pro
Sure.
Jared. That's who the other person was.
That's who it was.
Pro
I knew it was
Yeah, I
Jared
Jared.
had to look it up.
something, but
I'm
yeah,
like,
Pro
it's
Jared.
not the video game nerd or whatever. I'm like, I have to look that up.
Yeah, no, Pro Jared had went through a whole situation. Yeah,
Well,
and his was more extensive
he had a
to an
messy
actual age
divorce.
gap and
Yeah, and
yeah,
he was cheating with fans, and then he like came out and was like, no, 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 and disputed like a bunch. But and then apparently that garnered him like positive support. But then he disputed like 60% of the stuff and was like, this didn't happen. And then the other 40% like he just hasn't talked about. So like, I mean, it could all still be incorrect, but at the same time, like it shows a pattern. It matches up. There's factual evidence that shows for a lot of things. It's like
sure.
just if you don't want them, follow them, block them, ignore them, don't
Right.
do anything. But
Right.
you just got to move on with your life. Unfortunately, it's just how the internet works.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's too early. I didn't mean to make it sound like, oh, I'm in defense of him. I have no idea because for me, when I look at it, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, a person, I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, she is lying or anything like that. It is very, yes, early to tell.
Yeah.
I will clarify in what I said earlier, but yeah.
Also, sometimes people who are brought up into like the public eye and they reverse what they're saying, that doesn't always necessarily make them like recant their statements. They're just recanting them because they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to deal with the backlash because if one person comes out, they get hammered by supporters who are just blind supporters. Like if anybody ever came out about the Paul brothers, they'd be destroyed instantly. Thankfully,
Oh, yeah.
the Paul brothers are worse in other ways. And so far,
Yeah,
none of
and
that.
they do it to
Thankfully.
themselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't have to have people do that because they do it to themselves anyway.
Exactly.
I hope that answers everything for you, Cork. If you have any other
Yeah, great
questions about
question.
that, definitely post them up
Yeah,
in
it's
the
very
in
solid.
Let
the
us
chat
know
and we'll
your
talk about
thoughts.
it.
I'm curious.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? That is a good question. Good follow up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Post it up in there and I'll read it out to them.
Cool. So, Adam, you wanna lead us into this new 2021 with the promise of new games?
Oh, you bet I do.
Awesome.
You bet I do.
Where's the rest of that line?
Well, I had to pull up my phone. I accidentally went away from the article I had pulled up, so I had to go back, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it sit in awkward silence. Start this year off right. All right.
Oh yeah, you bet I do.
So,
Yeah.
so
We're
this
gonna
this
need another
is
take on that one.
this is an article from Game Informer. Genesis and I go through these probably like 4 times a year, honestly, and just talk about them. So it's nice to actually like record it because sometimes we can spend hours talking about like upcoming games. But I will skip over some things.
Cool.
Just this month, Hitman 3 is later this month, as well as The Medium, that Xbox Series X game. So Hitman 3 looks cool. It still confuses me why it's there's a VR mode. But to play VR, you have to play the PS4 version of the game because the PS5 version of the game, PS5 doesn't support VR, so it's a PS4 version. It's very strange. So very, very weird. Yakuza Remastered Collection is coming to Xbox. Anybody excited for that? Nope. A lot of remasters for the first couple months.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of remasters.
Yeah, quite a bit remastered.
Persona's being remastered, and getting Neo Collection and Control. So February, nothing important's happening in February, anyways. In our personal lives as well. Do you like that joke, Genesis?
Listen, well, I'll be the judge of what's so great that happens in February. Maybe I'll have some nice announcement to make in February, but for now,
we'll see. For March, you get Harvest Moon coming to Switch. It's One World 2. Don't care. But Yakuza Like a Dragon, the PS5 version, is coming out. It's been out for the Series X, but it's finally coming to PS5.
Was that a timed exclusivity deal they had on the Series X?
I honestly think it just took longer to make the PS5 version than the Series X version, and they were like, "Who cares? Just release it." It might have been a timed exclusive, but I really don't know, and I can't be bothered to look it up. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake that's coming out March 18th. Get excited for that.
Well, that's just a remaster, right?
Wasn't it pushed back to March 18th? Maybe this article hasn't been updated. Yeah, look that up. Fact check that.
Yeah.
What did you say, Giuseppe?
So that's it's not a remake, it's a remaster, right?
No, it's a remake. They're calling it the remake.
So is it...
It's really the same game, but it's going to look, I guess, better. After seeing it, though, I don't know.
That's just a remaster, then. I mean,
I don't
tightening up graphics. And this is... Okay. Remasters and remakes. Remasters are 100% of the time shameless cash grabs. Yeah. Remakes can sometimes be ambitious reinventions of original titles. Can be. Not all the time, but those definitely have the potential of being legitimate, worthwhile excursions as opposed to cheap remasters. I mean, maybe for people that may have never played an original title, a remaster is fine. But for people that have already indulged, a remaster, in my opinion, is minimal return.
I would say this is more like a remake, though, because a remaster is usually just, hey, we've put a filter on the graphics so they're HD. It's a port. Yeah, it's usually a remaster. It's really just an up-res port, similar to the Mario trilogy that just came out. That's going away.
That's just a port. That's not even a remaster. That's
no, there's things that are up-resed in that. So
yeah,
the bare minimum.
Right.
But anyways,
the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Next is Returnal coming out March 19th. That trailer for that came out some weeks ago. Our
You are
friend
correct,
Chris.
by the way, on the March 18th. It was delayed to March 18th from the original 2020 date. I had to
Yeah.
just look that up because I thought it was delayed longer, but I was wrong.
Yeah. No, I back in my head, I was like, oh, he might be right, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. None of us are probably going to play that because it didn't look that great.
No.
Um,
Okay, I know.
Returnal though, I'm kind of excited for this one.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Have you seen the latest gameplay video, Giuseppe?
I haven't seen the latest.
You should
Yeah,
check it
Chris,
out. That
Chris
actually
sent that
looks pretty
today,
good.
right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
today?
A lot of
Yeah, that's
people
today.
are comparing the actual gameplay to the Mass Effect 3 gameplay, and it looks good. It
Yeah.
actually looks pretty good. And I was like, you know what?
I'm just curious about the story and everything. So yeah.
They're saying it has horror elements because of the last trailer at the Game Awards that came up for it, and then a couple of the last gameplay trailer too showed like a couple of horror elements to it. For some reason, I guess they're drawing a comparison to Silent Hill for some reason, but I don't know why that's.
It's probably because of that the door thing, and the trailer from
Cork has also put a response.
Cork, yeah, go ahead, jump in
before you go on. So his response was, I don't have much opinions on the whole situation, but I don't think Carson can come back from this because of the dramatic reactions towards the entire situation. People have been fighting about the Romeo and Juliet laws that might protect Carson, while others says what he's done, which is the sent images, is definitely illegal. Also, I clipped a pretty funny moment recently. I hope you don't mind. From our stream.
Oh, thank
Not
you.
at all. We don't mind at all.
Yeah, clip away. No, clip, yeah. Clip it up, Snip or clip. Remember that game?
When you get hit
Nobody
with the
played that.
royalties, don't be surprised.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now. Cork, free pass. Right there. Free pass.
No, yeah, absolutely.
He could literally just start uploading
Josh.
our videos on a completely separate channel. He gets a free pass still. That's okay.
Absolutely. Anyway.
Yeah, the Romeo and Juliet laws, that's interesting to point out, but again, if you have to use those laws, you're doing something sketchy.
Honestly, now that we've brought it back up again, I'm just going to jump back into here and I'm going to put this, not exactly a hot take, but I'm going to
better be
put
quick.
this out there. This is it. Influencers should not have that degree of interaction with any of their fans and followers. It should be strictly maintained to the platform, and that is it. Do not take it beyond that. There should be a clear line. I understand it's a free country, and people can do and say what they want, but there are consequences to doing and saying whatever you want to whoever you want, whenever you want. And I think, and again, this feeds back to the whole social media influencer, professional, quote-unquote, types. If they took their craft seriously, then they should probably already have their own self-imposed lines that should not be crossed. And I would say, as a general thing, influencers should not ever cross that line. Do not interact with fans and followers personally 100% of the time, and you should really curtail how you do digitally outside of the standard platform, the standard show, the standard stream, and have it as that.
Yeah. I can't wait till Genesis starts up at Twitter, and then we'll have to address these allegations down the line. Anyways, the next happens to the best of them.
Allegations?
Yet.
Keyword. Go ahead. Returnal. Returnal.
Yeah,
definitely.
Returnal looks good.
I definitely want to give that a shot. Do I want to give it a shot while it's $70? I don't know. I have yet to think. I think I need to see a little bit more to see if I can justify that. But I think it looks very, very good. I'm also hoping Ratchet and Clank gets a good release date because we haven't heard the release date for that one. Although I think I remember seeing that as Q1 2021 as well. I'm not 100% sure with that one, but I would hope that comes out sooner than later.
Why would you bring up a game when we haven't even got there yet? Like, why are you trying to ruin my topic? Why do you want to ruin my life?
I'm not trying to ruin your life.
No, totally forgot to mention that one game that's coming to PS Plus in February.
Oh, Destruction All-Stars.
Yeah, that one, thanks. It's not even in this list.
Outstanding.
So, Destruction All-Stars. Get hyped for that. The next game is It Takes Two. We saw a little bit of that. It's from the people who make Unravel. It's just a co-op game. It looked cool. So there's also a Terminator
That was
game,
alright.
Monster Hunter Rise, some other stuff I'm just skipping over because we don't care.
Terminator game. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want it. There's also in April, Genesis. Can you just tell me the Near Replicant version title, that full title? I'm sure you know it by heart.
Has it changed? Isn't it version 1.14826529 or something like that?
Oh, you were
Near
so
Replicant?
close. Near Replicant version 1.224744481 or 87139. So,
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
wasn't that far off.
No, you weren't.
Cool.
Well, I mean, you were. So,
It was point.
you said
0.8 off?
1.1 and it was 1.2, so you were like a million off. So,
All right, well, thanks.
April, there's also a game called Humankind for PC, but personally, no computers here. In May, you got Deathloop, May 21st.
Oh yeah.
That game looks great, and I can't wait to play it. But it's going to be similar to Dishonored 2. I'll probably buy it and just never touch it. Just never ever touch it.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Like
you know,
a
honestly,
like a
that's
hover
what it
hand
is.
at a Comic-Con convention. It's just never going to touch it.
Honestly, at that point, you should really then just not buy it day one. You should definitely just like.
Hey, he's not gonna buy. I don't
that's-
think he's gonna buy day one. I think Black Friday will roll around. He'll get it, and then he'll like 4 years later we'll be doing this this podcast when we have 100,000 subscribers watching this thing.
That's a
and
lot.
like, you know,
That's a lot. Of
I forgot
confidence.
about Deathloop.
I like
It's
it.
still there. It's still in the wrapper. It's
Yeah.
still sitting over there, and I just never played it.
And Giuseppe and I will be like, remember Genesis, and we had to kick him off because of those allegations? Ooh, good times.
Oh man.
In June, you get Back for Blood.
2021 was so promising. Anyway.
Yeah. In June, you get Back for Blood. I know Genesis and our number one fan of the show, Kevin, are excited for that. That's the Left 4 Dead like
Can't
spinoff
wait for that.
from the
Can't
same
wait.
studio. So
Looks good.
looks
good.
real good. And then there's a bunch of to be announced dates, and I'm just gonna go through them real quick.
Do it.
I'm not gonna read them out loud. I'm just skipping through real quick.
Do it
Like
now.
which ones? Some iOS games. When do y'all think the Cyberpunk 2077 PS5 version is going to come out?
I want to say
it's going to be later than you think.
either later in the summertime or closer to Halo Infinite time.
Oh man, yeah, I'm going to say
Oh.
Halo Infinite time. Summertime, I think that's way too early.
Halo Infinite is rumored for November, like 15th.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think it'll
that-
come out then for the proper next gen ports.
I think it'll
I
be
agree with
summer.
that. Oh, summer's too early. You're presuming that they've
it's-
got their stuff together, and they
Yeah,
don't.
I
They
think.
gotta
Well, I think they're
reorganize.
concentrating on the best version of it, and not so much the PS4 and Xbox One versions of it. So
Oh, for sure, but I still think it's going to be much longer.
I'm thinking June. I'll say June. Mark it down on your calendars.
I think I'm gonna go August or September.
August. Giuseppe, you want to put a month in? September. All right. Classic. There you go. Let's see. They do have Destruction All Stars on here, but it's not dated for some reason. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's still coming out in February. I thought they had
Yeah,
confirmed
they
the
put
release date on that.
February. Yeah. Elden Ring. We talked about this one before the cast started. 2021. Anybody believe that or
No, I don't believe it at all. Not 1 ounce. Not a
Genesis?
chance.
Do you have like any
0%
rumors associated with this one?
I think I have like not really a rumor, just the tweet. They tweeted out that they were looking forward to seeing everybody in 2021 for all the stuff surrounding Elden Ring and things like that. And there's been a couple of rumors that like there's supposed to be something coming out sometime in February or March when a lot of the quote unquote showcases start back up, such as like CES and things like that start back up. So I don't know. The last time I remember though, didn't Xbox have the marketing rights to Elden Ring for this?
I believe so.
For this gen. Okay. So it might be during some Xbox conference or things like that. I mean, we'll see.
It makes more sense for them to begin their promotional package, because there's still nothing really out there about it. And it doesn't make any sense for a game like that to go from nothing to, oh, get ready, it's coming out in 3 months. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's not typical of them either, so we'll see with that one. That one's not coming. I don't think it's coming out in 2021. I think the marketing stuff will come out in 2021.
Sure.
And they might put a date of 2021 on it, but it's not coming out in 2021. So
no.
Adam, do you think we're gonna see factions for 2021?
I hope so.
Okay.
It worries me that we haven't seen any news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that definitely does.
But
yeah,
that's one of the things
worrisome.
where I could see them being like, "Hey, factions. By the way, a month from now, it's going to be turn on your PlayStation 5 or 4.
Yeah, well,
it'll be
that's
there.
okay.
You go.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Correct
but
me
we'll
if
see.
I'm wrong. Isn't that a trend that Sony's doing right now, where they're doing the release dates closer and closer to like the actual like announcement dates? Like is
Yes.
that them or is it somebody else I'm thinking about?
It's most video game companies are trying to do that. Sony, they learned a lesson back in I think it was 2015 when they had the Year of Dreams. And people were like, "Yeah, that conference was cool, but it's been 3 years and none of those games are out."
Yeah.
And Sony was like, "Okay, we're changing our methods. We're gonna try to like put out a game. We're gonna try to like put out the promotional stuff for it, and then like a few months later, that's when the release date comes." And that's similar what they did with the actual console itself of the PlayStation 5. So yeah, I would expect like for Ratchet and Clank they'll announce it like, "Hey, the release date is in 3 months," and that you don't really for that stuff you don't really need to put it like a year out or anything like that. At this point, I think most people thought it would be out, like we would know a release date by now, but we don't. So that could be another summer game. We'll get there. Next game on here that seems important: Far Cry 6.
Oh yeah, when is that coming out again?
To be announced.
No.
Oh, I thought I got a date. Okay.
No,
tell you
not.
what, man,
It had a date and then it was
Giancarlo's,
moved, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, Giancarlo's his stock is way on the rise. I mean, his face is like everywhere now, man.
Yeah, it's been on the rise since Breaking Bad.
Yeah, but I mean, like his visibility is just way up, and I'm
Good.
so happy.
He's great.
He's a very solid actor, and gosh, that voice of his,
so man. Good. He's good in everything he's in.
So good.
The next game, Ghostwire Tokyo.
I'm interested in that one. I want to see more of that.
Yeah,
but I don't think that has a date as well.
I'd like to know a little bit more about that. Just it is intriguing to me, but I mean, it
They're
could also
under
be ultimate jank too. So
they're under Bethesda as well, right? They're under that umbrella.
Yeah, I believe so.
Damn.
I was interested in that game when it was first announced, and then when I saw gameplay, I was like, "This looks like a remastered PS2 game." Like I think the graphics look good, but it looks like they're going for like PS2 style graphics, but modernized. I don't know. It's weird. It just wasn't what I was expecting. It still looked cool, but I'm not. By no means am I like, "Oh, I gotta play that." So we'll see.
yeah, I'm not salivating. I'm just intrigued by it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm intrigued. I want to see more of it definitely before I make any other assumptions about it. But I liked that the studio is the same studio that's responsible for Evil Within 1 and 2. And Evil Within 1 was pretty good. I started playing 2 and I don't know, I'm not a fan of 2. But I'm interested to see what they make. I like that division of the studio for what they make, so I'm interested to see what they make from them.
A game I am interested in, God of War. Ragnarok.
Absolutely.
That's really all we know about it. Not the actual title, just God of War so far.
Is it not called God of War Ragnarok, or it just was Ragnarok is coming?
Yeah, it's just Ragnarok is coming. It's not so far. It's just unnamed God of War 2021. So
okay.
Who knows when that's coming out?
Right.
So
you were the one of the ones that was immediately shocked when they gave a 2021. You're like, what?
I still don't believe it. It makes no sense for it to come out in 2021. Still. The other one came out in 2018. It's been not even 3 years. It'll be 3 years in April. And we still haven't seen anything about it. There's been no trailers, been no gameplay. We know almost nothing about it except Ragnarok is coming. We know it'll be on PlayStation 5 and PS4, I believe. Actually, I don't even
Was
know
that
if
one of
that's
the ones that?
confirmed. I think only
No, I
Horizon
think
was one that was confirmed.
yeah, Horizon. I'll look up that list in the meantime.
Yeah,
You can
look
keep
that up,
going.
please. But yeah, I'm hyped for God of War. God of War was one of my favorite games of 2018, and one of my favorite PlayStation 4 games, and one of my favorite games of all time. So God of War 2018 is beautiful. So
It's a great game because not only everything that they delivered in that game was so good, but there's also so much promise to make all that goodness even better. And so let's hope that they went ahead and like they opened up those possibilities, because there's just so much more coolness that you
yeah,
can get from it. I feel
yeah, I cannot
so
wait, and I really do want to replay God of War before that one comes out. I watched a lot of
yeah,
playthroughs of it,
it's a good idea.
but
It's a good idea.
yeah, definitely top of the list. The next one is Goodbye Volcano High. I know Genesis is excited for this one.
What is that?
It was at the Game Awards, I believe, right?
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
what?
it was
No,
the
or
Game
was it
Award.
at
No, no, no. That was
the other
that
one?
was at Sony's PS5
Yeah,
reveal. That's where it was at.
it was at the second one, right?
Is
Or
the
second conference?
No, it was at the first one. It was at the first
Oh, wasn't
conference,
it?
and then
Okay.
they showed it again at the second one.
All
Yeah.
right. Goodbye Volcano High is about, I don't know, some dinosaurs. It looks like a Telltale game about some dinosaurs in high school that are having teen drama. Highly
Yeah,
recommend looking up a trailer for it, because you're going to be like, what is this? What have I watched? And when can I buy it? So,
I don't know, man. That doesn't sound very
Very
appealing to
similar
me.
to
yeah,
like
not at
Perhaps
all.
if
Rainbow
I were
Six.
like, I don't know, 20 years younger. Yeah, maybe that
Perhaps.
might be.
Perhaps if you were 38. But, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, the next game. Do you like that? Thanks. If you don't laugh, people are just going to assume you're 58.
Yeah, right, right, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That's how you get people to laugh at your jokes. Force them.
Hmm. Right.
The next is Gotham Knights. No thanks.
Yeah, I mean, this. Yeah.
So few words, but I understood everything you said.
I don't have many words
Yeah.
for it. I mean, I just like,
I'm the most
I
excited
just
one
don't.
here is Genesis for this.
What?
For Gotham
For
Knights.
Gotham Knights.
For Gotham Knight, I'm not super excited. I mean,
You're the most
That's the
excited out of
most
all of us,
excited.
and you're not super excited. So that's the
Right,
end. That's
right.
Gotham Knights.
let's see.
Next is Gran Turismo 7. I'm thinking about getting this one. $70
Well, you
though.
like
I don't know.
you like your racing games.
I do like
Yeah, you
racing,
like your
but I
racing
like
games.
Forza a lot.
Well,
Specifically Forza Motorsport 2. I haven't really played any of the others. But like every time I see Gran Turismo, I'm like, this looks boring. But now they're at a point where it just looks so pretty where I'm like, well, I'm not even a car
Just a
guy.
side note here. The
Yeah.
amount of on a I don't I'm not on a computer much. I usually browse on my phone and stuff like that. But for the podcasts specifically, I use the computer because it's right here and I'm sitting right in front of the TV as well. But
Sure.
the amount of ad block, like please turn your ad block off, that comes on these websites is annoying. Like my God. Also, there are only at this point in time, there are only 3 games that are confirmed cross-gen. Horizon, Spider-Man, Sackboy. Those are the 3 that they've confirmed are coming out for both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. They did say they're going to continue to support the PS4. I think they said for the next 3 years. Is that? I think that's the correct term.
Yeah, but I don't know if
That's a
anybody else
smart
saw
move.
this, but the PS4 Pro has been discontinued in Japan, and they're only proceeding
Yes.
with the 500 gigabyte regular black PlayStation 4 Slim. So,
There you go.
yeah. So,
Very
3 years
nice.
supporting. Yeah. Thanks, Cyberpunk. Next game, GTA 5 for the PlayStation
GT.
5. Yeah, no, there's going to
Yep,
be a
we were
different
supposed to
version,
get that. Yeah, yeah, we're
Okay.
supposed to be getting that.
which is very exciting
Well,
because it's fun to play a 25-year-old game.
right, right. Did they have? Did they say anything about like what that new version's gonna deliver? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
what
it's
is
going to be prettier. It's going to run better. What do you not
okay?
understand? I feel like
Um,
you set these up.
well, I mean, whatever. It's
It comes
Rockstar.
with the
So
online, if that makes you excited.
no.
So, there you go.
No.
Halo Infinite, we kind of touched on. Um,
Comes out question marks.
November. This is the rumor.
Maybe. Yeah. Rumor
From
has
the
it. I
concept
heard a
art and
rumor.
like the giant blog post they did, like the concept art looks great. I still don't trust anything that comes out of that studio, but we
You
shall
shouldn't.
see. Horizon Forbidden West. This is my most anticipated game of this year.
More so than possibly God of War?
More so than God of War.
Wow. That's bold.
Let me tell you why. Because God of War, I think, will be good no matter what.
Right.
I think that game will come out, and it's almost at an impossibility to be like a bad game. I mean, it definitely could be, but like the studio knows what they're doing. Like if you could still throw the axe and other weapons you get in the game, no spoilers here, then I'll be satisfied. I'll be happy, and they continue the story. Like I have no idea where that's going. It's mostly because I know nothing about it. Horizon Forbidden West, like that game could come out and be like very similar to the first game, and I'll be somewhat disappointed. So I'm most excited for it because it has a giant bar to live up to. Because you boys know how
Oh.
much I love the first game. It's my number one
Uh-huh.
game of PlayStation 4.
You love that game.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was.
It's
It's my
definitely
top.
it's worthy. It's worthy on a short list for everybody.
It looks. That trailer got me so excited. So
You know what? I think I know what you mean when you say that because you know what? I think the main reason for it, I think the main reason for that it could be super impressive and then it could also be just like a retread is because of the story. I think a
yeah,
lot of the story, especially where it ends, it doesn't it doesn't give you the kind of like mystery, uh, the infinite mystery angle that the end of God of War does. Because you know it's like, yeah, you kind of maybe think that you might know what's going on, but you really don't because almost anything can happen because they teased so much possibility in the course of God of War's story. You know, they could open it up to so many different mythologies. They could possibly give us an epic Thor fight duel, but there's no way to know that that's what's gonna happen.
y-
And Horizon Zero Dawn is like it's like a lot of trope. It's a very tropish kind of
yeah.
ending. You know what I mean?
It could turn into
Uh,
something, and then you got silence. Like there's so much stuff that could be happening, and I'm excited. Genesis,
it's
do you have anything
possible.
to say about that? And also, did you find anything about God of War?
What was I looking for? God of War again? Was I looking to see if it's coming on
Okay,
PS4?
well, I
I
looked it
was.
up. There's no confirmation of a PS4 version yet, but they still haven't denied it, so we gotta wait and see. So thank you, Genesis, for looking that up. Do you
Cool.
have
No,
any
wait,
thoughts on
hold.
Horizon Forbidden West?
I mean, I see. The thing is this: I put about 30, I think it was about 30 or 40 hours into Horizon Zero Dawn, and I didn't finish it. I didn't beat it. It
Yeah,
might be one of the games that I might give another shot on PlayStation 5. PS5 seems to be that console that's now making my interest peak back into games that I may not have given a proper first shot
Outer
to go
Worlds.
back and try.
Totally
Oh yeah,
agree.
to go try and try these games. It's not like it performed bad or anything. For some reason, I think at the same time, if I'm not wrong, there was something else that came out around the same time, and I was like, oh, I got to play this next. And I dropped Zero Dawn, and then I tried to come back to it, and I forgot where I was in the story. And
Yeah.
that long story short, I think I should try and give it another shot because there are just so many good things about it. I remember it was very, very good, and I think I tried it on my PlayStation 4 right before the PS5 came out, and I was like, I think I might need to start this game over from the beginning
Yeah, you
because
do.
I
Yeah.
don't remember anything. And also, I was looking up the God of War thing. All I've seen so far is that God of War is, along with Ratchet and Clank and Demon Souls and um, God, there was one other title, are most likely going to be the ones that do not have a PlayStation 4 cross gen version.
Well, I can tell you
Just
right now
according to
that you're
what.
correct about Demon Souls. I don't think that's going to have a PS4 version.
Right.
No, yeah, that's not. Ratchet and Clank they already confirmed is not.
They did?
Yeah, yeah. That one's only being released on the PS5. Just again, the internet speaking, saying most likely that's not going to be one that's going to go across gen.
Yeah.
Neither is GT7. I think they were saying Gran Turismo 7 will
GT7,
most
no,
likely stay
that's
on.
definitely
Yeah,
not.
there's
No way.
no,
Yeah,
They will stay
that
on
studio can barely
PS5.
make one game within 10 years. They're not making two
right.
versions. So, all
Yeah.
right. Next is there's some stuff here, but there's one. Not to get any religious people upset. I Am Jesus Christ. It's coming out on PC. There's a trailer on IGN that came out in 2019. I
I'm
did have that
completely
playing
offended.
in the background. Shut up. I did have that playing in the background, and let me tell you, somebody's trying to make a good Jesus Christ game. So,
Really?
highly recommend looking that up.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
next, there's the Jet, the Far Shore. I don't know what really that is, but I recognize the name. I don't know if you guys care about it. Good talk. Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Genesis and I, hype.
Woo!
There it is.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Giuseppe, not hype.
Not hype.
That's the one where it looks like a Pixar movie and those little black furry things are like she controls them and then they turn the world beautiful and she has like a staff and it's made by the two CGI brothers.
I see. I see. I'm definitely less interested in that now. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, also coming to PS4, so you can get it.
That is one of the cross gens. That was one of the cross gens.
Yeah, Kerbal Space Program 2. I don't know if y'all ever played the first Kerbal Space Program. Lots of fun. This Kerbal Space Program 2 was supposed to come out this year, and then it just slowly, just quietly got delayed. So,
Okay.
some Lego stuff, some League of Legends stuff.
Yeah, League of Legends story mode coming or something like that to PlayStation
Yeah, something
4
like that. I think
or
number
5.
one fan of the podcast, Kevin, talked about that at some point. I honestly don't know. Marvel Avengers,
pretty sure he
PlayStation
said.
5 version.
Oh
Genesis.
yeah, I forgot that got
Are they
delayed.
is they going to be around for that?
I think they will. I think that version will come out, and then if they really, I've
They
said this
gotta change
before,
that.
if they
Gotta
really
change it.
wanted people to join the like if they wanted to increase their player base overnight, PS Plus or Game Pass, that's all they have to do.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't, but I'm pretty sure PlayStation and Microsoft pay the companies to put them on there, and they might not see that being like a benefit, but I'm telling you that would totally increase it, especially now since a lot of the bugs, well, some of the bugs have been worked out, but
Yeah. I agree with you to an extent. It would
yeah,
certainly be a
same.
shot in the arm, but it's done after a month. The base goes, it evaporates after a month. Like if that kind of whatever the cost is, that buys them a month. Because this is the thing. The thing about that game that people don't like is that is basically the entire game. The fundamental core aspects of that game, the gameplay loop, the action. You know what I mean? It's just too bland. It's too boring. It's nonsense. Nobody likes to fight trash mobs for the
Hey.
majority of the game. And again, and I not to reintroduce something that I harped on when we talked about it way back when, but man, Marvel's got so much IP there. Make the game reflect the IP for crying out loud. Forget the trash mobs. Make heroes fight villains for crying out loud. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Again, you are
They need
correct.
to change
Highly
that
recommend
game.
people going
They
back
need
to
to
the
change
Trash
that
Mob
game.
episode. Great episode. One of my favorites because of the Trash Mob conversation.
That's
Real
right.
good, real
And a
good.
trash mob, just
But
trash.
yeah, there are some people who were like, yeah, this game's fun, and I would put money into it, but I already put $60 buying it. So the PS Plus might take that away. I'm not saying
What were you saying
it's
about
a
me? You
fix-all.
mentioned my name as soon as you mentioned this, and I was like, what?
Well, we played it, so I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what you wanted. Okay.
Yeah, then you
Um,
said, I forgot this was coming out, and then Giuseppe started to talk.
That's
I
right.
did forget that this because I forgot that they delayed this for the PS5 version. I don't I don't think it's gonna change a lot. I mean, if it somehow changes a lot of the core fundamentals and the gameplay is better, and the game just plays better, and um, there's just a lot more to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I
Yeah,
think
we
even
can
at
all
that
wish
point,
for world
still, it
peace too,
just
but there's no way to expect any of that. There's no way that that's changing. I'm just saying is that's what it would need to revitalize it in a sustainable way. You know what I
okay.
mean? It
So
needs
in the simplest terms, I think if they just provided more content in the game, so add more stuff in, just made the gameplay a little bit more fluid and a little bit more polished, and the frames worked itself out, which that's probably going to get itself worked out on PS5. Um, I think
hopefully.
it would be an overall better game. Would it be something that I would go for? It would really depend on if we test drove that game again, for example, and we had a lot of fun in it,
Yeah.
maybe. But I don't know if that's going to change, even if they
It,
do all that.
if it's free on Plus, I have a second account. I'd be down to play again. How often and how long we play for, undetermined. Because
Mm.
as much as we harp on that game, we did have some fun moments. I have a highlight clips uploaded.
Absolutely.
Just when we were just, the frame rate just tanked and we're not doing good.
It was fun. It was a
All the
lot of fun.
shield
I will
dudes.
give it
It
that.
was a
But
lot of fun just in regards to playing a game with you. It was not fun in
alone, it
regards to
was the
playing the
worst.
game.
Yeah,
So,
it was
Mm.
yeah.
alone. It was the
That's a
worst
good
thing
that's a
ever.
good
I was like,
distinction.
I don't want to do
Yeah.
this by myself.
Good
So,
distinction to make.
if I was playing by myself or with other people I didn't care for, I would be like, I don't want to play this. This game's garbage. I'm gonna go back to playing Need for Speed Payback, the good game. Haha, jokes. Um, I'm gonna skip a bunch of games here because we're kind of going long. What about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? We talked about this a little
Can't
bit. When's this coming out?
cannot wait. Still 2021 slated.
Well, that's why we're talking about it now. I don't know if you remember what this
And
topic is.
I remember what the topic is. I've been listening. I haven't been just dilly dallying all over the place.
Dilly
Um,
dally.
I believe it's still slated for a Q1 or a Q2. I think it's the first half of 2021. I'll give it that distinction. I believe
I
it's still
believe
supposed
so
to come
as
out
well.
then. I honestly cannot wait. I have developed a good relationship with the Ratchet and Clank games where I never got to play the original ones back in the day on PS2 because unfortunately I was not one of the kids who had a PS2. I instead went the GameCube route, and now when
Same.
I look back on it, I wish I went the PlayStation 2 route because I would have probably had a lot more fun. Um, but the game when I started to play Ratchet and Clank, I think it was on PlayStation 3 when I started to play that. That was Future
Crack in time.
World. No, that was
There's
that was
another
the
one on
end of the
PlayStation
era.
3.
The first one
Yes, there
on
was. Yeah.
PlayStation 3, which was like the big graphical leap on Ratchet and Clank games, where people were like, "Wow, look at that!" I think it was Future World Beyond or something. I don't know what something
Weapons of
called
Mass
Future Wars or
Destruction.
weapons of future weapons of mass destruction
Something
that
like
are
that.
being kept in Syria. No.
What? No.
Um,
Whoa.
I think that one was actually the first one that I played. Then I went through. I played Crack in Time. I didn't play Quest for Booty, and I didn't play Going
Future Quest for
Commando.
Booty. That's what that one is.
Okay. Um,
And
I didn't
then,
play
yeah,
All for
Future
One,
Crack in
but
Time.
then I played the PlayStation 4 version, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was amazing. I was like, "Oh my god, this thing is so cool." They were getting close to the Pixar, like everything was looking like a Pixar
Yeah.
movie, and then the trailer for this one dropped, and I was like, "It is a Pixar movie.
Yeah,
They've finally done it."
technically this one looks great. I'd never really played the Ratchet and Clank games. They're just not for me. But yeah, I watched you play the PS4 version, and for the first 2 hours, you're like, Adam, it looks like a Pixar movie. You would stop and be
And
like,
then
oh
we
my
ran
god.
into the one mini game that ruined the entire experience.
It's not even a mini game. It's just a race. It's awful.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
But overall, game was fantastic. I loved it. If I just cut that part out, it would have been a perfect score. But
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed myself on Ratchet and Clank. I never got into Jack and Daxter, but I'm 100% excited for the next Ratchet and Clank, which is odd. Where I'm like, I don't. Usually those two go hand in hand. Where I'd be like, okay, if I play Ratchet and Clank, I'll go play Jack and Daxter next. And as well as they're made by Insomniac, correct?
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. Jack and Dexter's not.
No, who were they made by?
Naughty Dog.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was the comparison I was gonna have.
I can't wait till they make another one of those
and
and Daxter kills Jack. Then you got to live with the consequences. Giuseppe, do you have any thoughts on Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah, I'm kind of like where you're at. I mean, I platinumed Crack in Time, and I really enjoyed that game. And I have fond feelings towards that franchise, but it's also not the thing that's like for me. It's not my kind of game.
All right, I respect the platinum though. Good job. Next, here's one that's probably not for you. Resident Evil Village.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I know you are.
Not.
I'm excited.
Same.
Not.
I've never really cared for the Resident Evil franchise. So.
To elaborate on one of the other rumors that I told you, where we thought that Chris was going to be a werewolf.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case anymore. More leaks have come out for that.
They actually want to sell the game, so I better not. So
there is a person who is claiming to be Chris. So apparently the Chris that we see in the trailers is not Chris Redfield. There's a person who is not a doppelganger, but he is pretending to be Chris Redfield, and he is the werewolf, whoever that person is.
Did you bring this up at one point? I feel like you briefly mentioned this before. I don't know if it was on one of these where Chris was a doppelganger. I feel like you briefly mentioned
you know what?
that.
If that's the case, because guess what? Capcom 100% opened the door to retconning 7. Because guess what? That too was not Chris Redfield. I'm sorry, I don't care. I'm sorry.
That could be the case. That could 110% be the case.
Real quick. I'm sorry, I don't care either. We're moving on because the topic of this is not Resident Evil. Next game is.
Move on.
We're moving on. If you want to talk about it during your sections, you can. The next one is Skull and Bones.
Why are we mentioning Ubisoft in this at all? They don't make games. They're just a trash company. Move on.
Giuseppe, you got anything to say about Skull and Bones?
No.
Cool. Next. Let me see here.
Who's mentioned this company that just doesn't make games? All they do is they make
Lord of the Rings Gollum.
I forgot that is coming to PlayStation 5.
Yawn. Who cares?
Oh.
That's a dumb character to frame a Lord of the Rings game around. Unless you're talking about making.
Are they framing it around, or is that just the title of the game?
Are you asking me? I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand the purpose of titling that when that's not either going to be the main player avatar or the focal point of the entire game. That's just
could be the focal point of the game, but I don't think we're going to play as Gollum. But anyway, go ahead.
Either way, that's dumb. Either way, that's dumb. There's so much better stuff to make a game on with the Lord of the Rings IP. Gollum is not it. Not at all. Not interesting. Move on. So many cooler characters, and yeah, man.
Moving on.
There's some other garbage here that none of us probably care about, like Warhammers and stuff. Totally forgot to mention Hogwarts Legacy. And does anybody think 2021 for that? It's in here, but I think it's too early for 2021.
We did see gameplay. It's not like we didn't see gameplay, though.
Who knows if that's even going to be the final?
No. The trailer they showed wasn't CG. Wasn't that in-game? Wasn't that
There was some CG, and then there was some in-game stuff, but it was clearly not final build in-game stuff.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
I will say this, though. The potential for that is very, very high. I really want to know what the level of multiplayer interactivity there is to it. And I know that certainly my wife is very, very interested.
I was going to say, if that is any sort of good, you guys are going to be on that. I know that.
Yeah. So.
surprised you haven't mentioned FF16 yet.
I wasn't in there.
What?
So it's supposed
That
to be
wasn't in
2021?
Are these games 2021? I
Yeah,
didn't
these are
realize
to
that
be
all these
announced
games.
2021 video games. Yeah, these are all
Okay.
slated for 2021. Maybe it wasn't there and I just skipped over it. Let me just double check.
Could be. All right.
Nope, not in here. So it's not
Alrighty then.
2021.
Moving
There
on.
you go. Moving on.
That's it. I'm done.
Alrighty
Oh,
then. Awesome.
well, that's it. Honestly, it was a very robust list. We'll see if they all actually do come out in 2021. But there are definitely some very, very promising titles there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Halo Infinite, baby.
Ba ba ba
And
ba 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 ba.
Bye bye.
so really quick, I'm gonna make my segment very, very brief because it's kind of like I'll make it as kind of like a little bit of a running journal, talking about my experience with Cyberpunk 2077 on PS4 Pro. So I've definitely gotten to the point in the game where I've reached the point of no return mission in the main story missions to clear in that game. Now, I usually try to veer away from main story missions because I like clearing out the open world first. But when you get into the cycle of clearing open world side missions, it starts to get a little bland after a while, and you just got to touch base on one of the main story missions again, just to kind of revigorate your interest in the overall story. So I was a little surprised that I came up on that main story point of no return mission as early as I did. So I took a step back from that, and I really got into clearing out the side missions with the cyber psychos, the side missions with some of your uh, secondary characters like Pan Am and River and what have you. And I got to tell you that as I've been delving deeper into those side missions, side quests, the gigs, the game seems to be breaking on me at an increased rate. I'm talking about an increase in crashes to main menu, increasing in freezing on the screen, wonky things with mission triggers, characters blocking paths, things not loading up into areas to, requiring you to collect a thing in order to move on to the next thing. That has definitely increased almost tenfold as I've been veering away from the main missions and getting into the side stuff to really like clear out the world before I delve into this final chapter. And it's been very, very disappointing for me. And again, I don't know what all these most recent hot fixes have really been adjusting, uh, because I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing less of it the more I get into this game, and I'm not sure if anybody else is having this experience. Hopefully, most of you are smarter to play this game on a better hardware rig than what I'm playing it on, but this is my current limitation. But I'm curious to know if anyone out there is having something similar. I can tell from just YouTube streams that a lot of people are having fun poking fun at Cyberpunk 2077 for just these very reasons. But I'm just finding it very, very disappointing, distracting, and it detracts from a lot of the good vibes that I was having from that game earlier on, which is curious to me because that was closer to the date when people finally got their hands on it and they realized the issues that that particular software had. Um, again, it's I'm a little disappointed by it. I'm still gonna push through, and chances are I once I do have an opportunity to get back into it, I'm probably just gonna push through to that final mission and then like just wrap up the story just to beat the game and then I'll consider like just starting over because I don't know if I really want to like clear like 100% that game with the current build that I have and where I'm at in the story because I know that based on some of these broken mission aspects to some of the side quests. I believe I have some of these at points that I cannot actually complete them because they're at points that I needed to have something happen or collect a thing, but it's no longer collectible because it's broken. So it's gonna facilitate or necessitate, I should say, a brand new start. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily looking forward to that, but I have a much better knowledge of the right way to build a character that I would probably enjoy refining it in a min-max situation for a second playthrough. But outside of that, I got to tell you, I'm a little bit confused at people who've talked positively about Cyberpunk 2077. They've referenced the story being a strong point for it. It's not a bad story, but it's not a strong point of that experience. There are games out there where story is intricate. It is more of a reason to play than the actual gameplay. This game is not that, and not even close to it. The story is good, and the Keanu Reeves character is good in doses, but he's just not that inexorably linked to the player's moment to moment experience to really be dictating your the pacing of your gameplay or even the prevalence of the narrative. It's just far too sporadic, and it's just, the opportunities to disconnect with moments that you would think would be, oh, this is an important story moment, even though I'm not on a main quest. It's like, yeah, for me, there's been too much of a disconnect happening on there. So that combined with the increase in functionality issues for this game, it's starting to wear on me a little bit, and I'm a little crushed by it. A little crushed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little crushed by it. But that's it. That's really all I have to say about my kind of like current report card on my Cyberpunk 2077 experience. So Genesis, please lead us into some rumors so we can wrap up this fine episode of Crafting a Chat.
Rumor has a rumor.
Before I go on, I just want to ask you a quick question. Given
Sure.
the circumstance of if you had a PlayStation 5 for the second playthrough, would that help you through your second playthrough at all? Would that benefit you? Would that make it better? Would you look forward to the second playthrough versus
Sure.
how you're feeling now if you had a PlayStation
Sure.
5 to play it on?
Well, yeah, sure, absolutely it
Okay.
would. I mean, it would further incentivize me. I've not reached the point with the game where I'm striving to grab the disc and snap it in half, right? No, no, no. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at that game, even with all of its the issues that it's been briefing me with. It's kind of like almost like it's turning into a Dishonored situation for me where I'm getting just bored with the same jank that's being thrown in my face. It's not inciting rage in me. I'm just getting malaised by it. You know?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask
But
that. I
yes,
was curious in that
for
one.
sure, I would love to see this thing run on higher end hardware, and I'm sure it will. It will once I get my hands on one, and hopefully at that point the software, all the patches, all the updates, all the fixes, all the everything that game seriously, even now to this point, is in desperate need of. When it's all wrapped up and put together and thing, I think yeah, it'll be a decent game at that point. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. Whispers of the Internet. I got a couple actually for you guys this week. So first one I'm gonna go with here is actually more just a news thing here. Nintendo just actually acquired Next Level Games. These guys are a Canadian-based developer that were known for the Luigi's Mansion sequels, Punch-Out Wii, Metroid Prime Federation Force, and Mario Strikers. They are now a first-party studio for Nintendo.
The
So
that Metroid game. Oh,
yeah. That game nobody wants to remember. That was unfortunately given the same title as the Metroid Prime series. So that they've acquired that. That was a rumor actually that was in the middle of the week that obviously I didn't cover last week. Also, given that last week was our New Year's special, so
correct.
this was just going through the week, and then they finally broke the news that it was actually done and all said and done with acquiring Next Level Games.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I don't know if that's gonna. I don't know if that's gonna add as much ammo under in their arsenal. I don't think it's gonna do much. I mean, it's the Luigi's Mansion sequels that really made most of the money. Mario Strikers, I guess, but everything else, really, it's all right. The first one I have, actually, the first real rumor I have is the trademark that Xbox has just gotten. The Xbox just trademarked the term XS. And the rumor is there is going to be another variant of the Xbox Series X, which would be the digital-only series, for them to start combating sales a little harder. So the rumor is that they're going to be dropping the digital-only Xbox Series X for $399, and it is going to be called the Xbox Series XS. And yeah. 1 terabyte hard drive, and it's going to be this digital only console. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Well, first of all, my thoughts are they're marketing and PR people. They need to find different ways to name their product. I mean, they need to take that mother all the way back to formula. I mean, for crying out loud, just freaking calling it the Microsoft box is already it's already better than this X, Series S, Series blah. No, just stop. It's dumb now. It's officially dumb. It's not cute. It's not witty. It's not clever. It's dumb. Call it something else. Just call it a different name. Just rename your product. Forget this nonsense. Everything else is whatever. I mean, if it does what they want it to do, then cool. It's just another hardware rig. But man, fix your naming. Fix your branding. Fix it. That's dumb.
I would agree. There was an early on slideshow that came out where there was a rumor that there was going to be a Series V released, which was going to be the digital version of the Series X, but that obviously never came to be. It was odd though when I saw the lettering. I was like, so it'll be X and V and then S, if that would have been the case. But Adam, any thoughts on this at all?
I agree with Giuseppe. My biggest issue is the name.
Yeah,
because when I hear XS, I think extra small, so it's smaller than the Series S, but it's not. It's just a smaller version of the X. Stop, please, just stop.
Mm-hmm.
But I like
all
Sony.
Right, I'm gonna move on to the next
They're
one.
They're like, hey, digital edition, nice.
Yeah. The next one I got is a possible Xbox Elite Series 3 controller. And the Series 3 controller actually is going to be taking a lot of the cues from the DualSense, apparently, according to this rumor. And this was based off of a survey that a couple of people are receiving for the Xbox Series X. And the survey states about the controller itself, give us your information. Give us your not information, but your opinion on what you'd like to see from the Xbox consoles in the future, such as in the bullet points were the controller enhancements versus the competition, things like that. And a lot of them were talking about this is definitely pointing towards a Elite Series 3 controller that would have a lot of the features that the DualSense has. And then people started making the comparison. It was like, oh, well, does PlayStation technically still need a Pro controller at this point when we have a DualSense versus Xbox now coming out with their third series controller, which would probably be like $160, $150, something like that.
I think the answer is still yes. For the
Think
second
so?
part, yeah, I think I'll answer the first part first.
Sure.
This is typical of a company to do. Phil Spencer has talked about how much he likes the DualSense. We've talked about on here that Steam is looking to get DualSense support for, like to add DualSense support specifically, because some games
I
want to
believe it's
utilize some of
confirmed
the
now they're
features.
going to do it.
Yeah, but they're trying to get that done because some games actually want to utilize what the DualSense is doing, especially the triggers. Cool. Will we see that? Maybe. They're probably gonna. If we see it, we wouldn't see it for a while. And then the second part of that is, does Sony still need the same thing? They don't need it, but I would still like to get a premium controller. These sticks suck. These are the exact same sticks as the DualShock 4. Exact same. Like, I think they're fine, but at the same time, like, give me better sticks. Let me customize the color and lights on the control. There's so much I can customize on this that I would love. This feels like a premium controller, but at the same time, I would love to customize so much of it. It's, like, come on. Like, of course. But they don't need it. Will they do it? Probably not.
Yeah, and that's ultimately like the worst realization about this particular rumor is that there's always been a market for modular custom controllers. I mean, there are lots of companies that build them their own, and I've always loved the concept of the of those Xbox controllers, because I love the idea of a modular controller. If for any other reason that you can extend the life cycle of that product by swapping out new, fresh, and better, equipment. You know what I mean? The technology of the thing itself is fundamentally the same, but you need new buttons, you need new sticks, you need a new power source. You know what I mean? Like, all of these things are things that can be swapped up, and obviously, there are lots of YouTube videos on how to do it yourself and then crack it open, but not everybody's that technically savvy. To have a modular controller where you can have a say in the performance and how it feels in your hand, because again, a controller is a controller, but it doesn't always feel the same for everyone. And if you can add on or adjust that controller to suit your needs for your gameplay experience, all the more better. And honestly, if Sony were, I've always wanted that for Sony. I desperately want a modular controller because I'm not a big fan of their sticks in general. I could use taller sticks. I could use not these rubberized nonsense. I mean, there are lots of things, and maybe extender tips on the trigger. I mean, like, there's lots of things that I would consider. But without that possibility to do it, it wouldn't occur to me to go out and spend $300 on a custom controller from this company that I don't really know about, and then I don't know about the money back situation, about whatever. But I love the idea of a modular controller. I really wished and hoped that Sony would explore that, but I know that they won't because that's not their game.
Mm-mm. Exactly.
I wouldn't mind a modular controller either. I would like it. Obviously, I'll shell out the money for something like that. I think a Pro controller would be awesome. I don't know what they'd call it because Pro and Elite are both taken. I guess they would call it the Plus controller. I don't know, maybe something like that. I have no idea. Next one. I'm gonna combine this rumor because it's two separate ones, but it's about the same thing. So, Far Cry 6 apparently has a release date of the 30th of April 2021. Along with a couple of things about the game. So apparently they're, just like in most Ubisoft fashion games, the DLC's already being talked about before the game's even out. DLC,
Where is it taking place? Do we know? Like, what part of the world?
Spain.
Spain, okay.
I think it's
Really?
they're doing like a fake thing, like they always do, like a fake place.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, okay, a fake place, cool, but I mean, we can still get an idea. Is it in the east? Is it in the west? Is it Europe?
Well, I mean,
Is it
the
Africa?
trailer showed it as like a South America place. Also,
Okay, South
Giancarlo Esposito typically plays like a Hispanic man in things.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that doesn't necessarily dictate the place. But still, though, okay, it's good to know. So, South American, got it, got it. Cool. So we're talking drug cartels, is what we're saying.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, if you want to introduce kind of like the big typical uh, danger element to a Far Cry game, then that's got to be it, right?
Could be.
Could be.
Well,
The DLC talks about the previous villains being playable, and the main villains that are going to be playable are Voss, the villain from 4, and the father from 5, in this game. So that's what they're talking about as far as this is concerned. I don't really have any thoughts on it. Do you guys have any other thoughts on it? I know, Giuseppe, you were talking about it just now a little bit, but
to play as Voss?
Yeah, is
Voss,
this
the
like
villain
in
from 4, father from
DLC?
5.
In what way?
Oh.
Yeah, it's like is
It
it a
just says the
story
DLCs
thing?
will make previous villains playable. The only villains that this person knows are is Voss, villain from 4, and the father from 5. That's pretty
Does he
much it.
name the villain from 4?
I don't
Paganim.
know.
No, because if the rumor
Paganim.
is, I
From
think
five.
this is what I know of. It's going to be the
No,
villain
he's
from
four.
4. But if he doesn't have the villain from 4 in there, like the name of them, that's super sketch.
Yeah,
I can
So,
see that. I can see that.
and also like you saying the father, like he has a name as well. So that's weird. April 30th, sure. No date matters at this point. But I could see it coming out April 30th. Yeah, those villains are cool.
I'm
So
just curious as to know like what
I don't know what we do with them.
just skins for the sake of skins, or does it
Probably.
serve a purpose?
Hmm,
Well, okay.
I don't
Well, I
know.
mean, it's Ubisoft, so you really shouldn't read too much into it. They just do
Exactly.
stuff for
Yeah.
money, so
It's
whatever.
a
There's
it's
no
a pile
particular
of
purpose.
garbage. Just put it in the hefty garbage bag and throw it out.
All right.
Sometimes you
So
do.
Well,
the next one that I got is especially very exciting for Adam. I know he's gonna love this one. So the Last Guardian dev has a new post where they're working on a project for 2021, and in 2021 apparently the picture is the number 2021, and in the picture are all the excerpts from the Last Guardian. So it could possibly be a port to the PlayStation 5 or a new project. I know you're so excited, Adam. I know you can't wait to hear about all this and continue to hear about all this for the next couple of years. Um, any thoughts? Good, fantastic, awesome,
Awesome,
sorry, I
outstanding.
awesome.
sneezed. I muted myself. Um, I I don't care. Um, also, I'm pretty sure the people who designed it didn't they do something with Epic Games like last year?
I think
Or
they
didn't
did,
Epic
yeah.
Games like invest in them with something? Because that's the company that worked with Japan Studios, as we all learned last week. That not what 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago,
Two
where
weeks ago.
the studios they're not real first parties, they're sub first parties that work with Japan Studios and work on first party IPs.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
this is great, cool. It, it's exciting to know for those people who are fans of their games. For everybody else, it's just another mediocre game that's going to be overhyped and not released for 10 years. So,
Yeah. Any thoughts,
Right.
Giuseppe?
No.
Okay.
nah.
I got two more, and then I think we could wrap this up. So the next one I got is a Brazilian streamer and insider teased some games for the Switch for 2021, which I'll make a little side note on that. Apparently, I've seen a couple of people on Reddit, a couple of just people pulling up like insider posts and things like that, or not insider, but I should say like the the people who deal with the news section or talking politics of how gaming is going to develop in the next couple of years, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they're saying that the Switch is prepared or is going to be outpacing the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, especially with that rumored Pro model that's going to be coming out, the Switch Pro. Um, And I guess more news about what's coming out for the system is like Breath of the Wild 2, which we already knew that was already going to be made for this. I think they confirmed that already. That's going to be coming. We don't know when, but that's supposed to be coming in 2021. A new Splatoon game, a Metroid 2.5D game, Fire Emblem game, the Pokemon Diamond remake for Switch. Um, these are apparently all slated for 2021. And also another side rumor that hooks on with this last one. Apparently, as we speak, there are some videos that people are finding that are becoming unlisted from Nintendo. So, like, it's basically when they post up a video and then they immediately private it for
Shocking.
related to Pokemon.
Shocking.
So we might see a announcement from them in the coming days about either a DLC for Sword and Shield, which is, keep milking that, I guess, because what else are they going to do with this dead franchise? Dead for me, sorry, dead for me, not dead franchise, dead for me. Um, or we might see the remake of Diamond that people have been asking for like a couple of years now. But any thoughts on that as far as what you guys think the Switch is going to do in 2021 and these games being slated for 2021?
Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to jump right in there. The possibilities of the Switch as the de facto mobile slash in-home console choice, the the adaptability of that console itself is it's a fantastic thing in and of itself, and if they can find a way to make it a better computer, a higher just a higher end computing device, both at home in the slot and on the go. Cool, good for them. The notion that they are going to overtake and outpace Sony um, is ridiculous because of this reason alone. Using Nintendo first party stable games as basically your leading charge or leading argument for that is a bunch of nonsense. Okay, I don't care how popular your Mario is, your Link is, your Metroid, back when it used to be good, Giz, and your Pokemon. Like all that stuff is exactly what Nintendo's has had for decades, and it's exactly where they are. And now again, they're not losers by any kind of means whatsoever. No, 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 no. Nintendo is Nintendo. They have more than enough power and money and sales to self-determine everything that they want to do in the industry. But they're not outpacing Sony. And heck, even Microsoft at that point, because that's just not their ambition. That's not their ambition with their first-party stable games. That for the most part, they stay in their niche. They're not pushing the envelope with their first-party nonsense. It's actually a very quaint, familiar, and comfortable formula with all their first-party games, and they're not going to do that. Just playing things safe. What they need is a brand new paradigm shift in terms of the software they want to develop and the software they want to produce and push forward. If they were to do that, then maybe they have a possibility at that concept. But to suggest that any of those games, even if all those games come out in 2021, great. They're going to see some great sales. They're not going to outpace Sony. Sorry, not going to happen, because the ambition for that console has got to be more than the familiar games they have in their stable. It has to be more than that. It has to be more than just making the Switch be a better looking thing. What else can it do? How much increased functionality and adaptability can it have? Can we push this thing to do much more in revolutionary kinds of ways? If that was the mindset for Nintendo, then I could see maybe that's a possibility. Other than that, though, no, that's a bunch of nonsense. They need to go home and rethink it.
I agree with you on all your points. I find it so insane that whenever you hear the numbers for these first party Nintendo games when they sell, it's usually double or even triple what any of the first party sells on Sony side. Um, I just and they're all the same copy paste formula games that they just keep doing, and people keep praising and revering for all these things that they do. Like I always go into the stupid rant to Pokemon, and I'm gonna keep it short. It's just, it's the same garbage every single time. And now they're cutting more and more out. So they're learning. They're getting smarter and saying, well, our followers are blind to whatever we do. They will buy whatever we put out, clearly, because their sales have never declined for a lot of their things. Um, and even if we cut things out and charge people more money and make more money and charge people for an incomplete version of what we should be giving them, or a downgraded version of what we should be giving them, they're still going to buy. And the Switch is proof of that. That they keep this console cannot produce a proper next gen or 1080 experience, especially if you're not docked. If you're not docked, you're looking at 720. If you're docked, then you're 1080. But that defeats the purpose of the Switch, right? The Switch is supposed to be a mobile. You can take it around. It's supposed to give you the home console type of feel, but you can take it anywhere you want to.
Right.
I don't know. If they're making good numbers, good for them. That's great. It's just, I've heard things for like people who I know who play the Switch, and they talk about how good the Switch is and this and that. People tell me, oh, you should get one. I'm like, no, I don't need this. I don't want this garbage. I don't need it. I don't want
All
it.
that stuff is going to keep the Switch exactly where it's at. A solid console for people to enjoy, but they're not going to be outpacing the industry.
The Switch,
leader.
the Switch doesn't do anything, and the games don't do anything revolutionary. Like the Breath of the Wild, it's another Zelda game that Zelda games ever since like Twilight Princess, which I still hold to this day is probably one of the best ones out there. It's just like the copy paste that with a different story each time, and they make
been
it look
open
a little
world for a while. You know what I mean? That's not a big deal. They've just increased the openness of the open world.
Yeah.
It's just not revolutionary.
And to them, it's a foreign concept because where we've had open world games on Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, Xbox One, now PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X, they're seeing that on just first party basis with Mario and Zelda in particular, because they went into an open world or kind of an open world concept for those. But I agree with you on all those points. Adam, any thoughts on that?
I mean,
you own a Switch. I know
I
you
do
have
own a
a Switch. You
Switch.
have Animal Crossing for it.
I only own Animal Crossing for it. I haven't touched it in months. I think the Switch is great. I just don't ever feel like playing. Plus, it has no trophies. I think eventually the Switch will outsell the PS4. Yeah, and their first party games sell a lot. I honestly forgot the original question. So.
I was just saying, like, what do you guys have thoughts on them outpacing the next gen, as well as what their 2021
Oh yeah, they're gonna outpace the next gen.
Looks like?
No, they are, because I'll tell you why. Because they're already doing it, but it's because Sony and Microsoft aren't able to produce enough stock, and that's going to be the biggest reason. But they already, in the first month of the PlayStation 5 and Series X launching, Switch sold the most number of units. Sony only beat them in price.
That's not going to be sustainable.
That
is not.
So far, it has
stable.
been.
I think it's gonna.
Great, it's happening now.
I think it's gonna taper out pretty fast.
But that all depends on if Sony and Microsoft get enough stock.
Yeah.
It really comes down to them getting stock. If they get stock, then I'll tell you right now, the PS5 will outsell the Switch, bar none. Like, that's not an option. But then also, Nintendo could put out a revised Switch that's even more powerful, and that'll sell another 20 million this year alone.
They did sell quite a bit in a small amount of time. I don't know. It's never gonna make sense to me how this console. And I understand it's nostalgia. I get it's already an established fan base. It's people. It's a name that people know. It's just that's the reasons why. It just, to me, in my head, it just doesn't. I don't know. I guess maybe it's the same thing as Apple and how they sell their cell phones. It's just a name and all that. It just, you know it. You've already done it. It's the same product over and over, but you'll keep buying it. You'll keep spending money on it. So.
For me, the psychological trigger for me for Nintendo is their games just
Same
don't give me
garbage
the
every time.
depth. It's just like everything. All of their best stuff are known quantities before you even know what the new game is. They're
Sure.
known. You're gonna get a certain degree of quality, and you're gonna get a certain degree of polish, but that's all you're gonna get. You're not gonna
Yeah.
You're not gonna be surprised by it. It's not gonna deliver like, wow, this is some really interesting multiplayer.
There's good third-party
wow.
stuff on the Switch now, though.
Yeah, but I'm not.
That's exclusive to the Switch.
But that stuff. That's not the thing that people go to the Switch for. That's not. I'm
Yeah,
talking
they go
about
for the first.
First
Yeah, they
party.
go for the
That's
first
why
party,
they're
yeah.
there. That's why they're there.
But yeah, I agree with you, Adam. I agree with that. There's
Those games are always the big numbers, and that's what we're talking about here. What's really going to cause this thing to outpace, quote unquote, next gen consoles? Yeah, Adam, you're right. Presuming that Sony and Microsoft cannot actually figure out how do we create these things in these fictional fantasy places called factories. Oh my gosh, where are the raw materials? Oh my gosh, how do we do this? And Nintendo somehow they figured it out. Who knows?
Nintendo's Switches are it's like making cell phones. Like they make 1 million of them in like a week.
It's cheap. It's cheap stuff. But
Yeah,
regardless
it's cheap,
of that,
so.
but still though, it's software that drives. And yeah, Nintendo has lots of devoted, passionate followers. There are other words that I could probably use.
Sure.
There are other
Blind,
words,
ignorant.
but it's
dumb.
fine. But it's
So
fine.
Sony.
But presuming that Sony and Microsoft just simply can't figure it out, cool. Yes, yes. The new Pet Rock could also outpace the next gen consoles.
The thing is that Sony's, you can say, yeah, we're blind, we're ignorant. Yeah, Sony has blind, ignorant followers, all that good stuff. The only thing is that like Sony just keeps pushing the envelope with every single thing that they put out, and people keep expecting more. But then they just don't expect anything else from Nintendo. And as long as they put out the new Pokemon, the new Mario, it's good, it's fine. Everything's 10 out of 10 for that. I'm like, what? How is this fine? Like a Sword and Shield come out is an abomination, and it sells 23 million copies. And it's a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. It's a cut, terrible piece of garbage game, and nobody says anything about that. No,
Well, that's a reputation Nintendo's built up over the years, though, like over the decades.
I understand that.
Sony will probably be there at some point. Uncharted 15, are you kidding me? I remember when Uncharted was good, and now it's just the same games over and over. It sold 28 million, who cares?
You're talking about Uncharted's dead.
So, not dead.
Anyway, to finish this out, I think the last one I just wanted to touch on this one. Stalker 2 appears to be a Microsoft exclusive. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I guess the rumors are that Microsoft is spending a big amount of money now to taper down, to lock down certain exclusives for their console now, especially with the buyout of Bethesda. Mm-hmm. And Stalker 2 seems to be the first one. There is no PlayStation 5, there's no timed exclusivity on this one, which most people thought it was originally going to be. And it's going to be just on a second party game, which means it'll come on PC, but it's going to be an Xbox Series exclusive. No timed exclusivity where it's going to be on PlayStation later. Which, have the other Stalker games been on PlayStation or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
And the main rumors or the main discussion point comes from, if this is the first step in doing that, Stalker 2, Microsoft exclusive, right? How much money are they going to sink in the rest of the IPs that they're going to say, nope, you can only play this on a Series X, Series S, or PC, or with Game Pass on PC? That's how they'll advertise it, obviously.
How much money? The answer is...
what's the length they're going to go to do that? I think they'll just spend whatever money they have to make sure that you can't get, the newest Fallout on PlayStation. You can only play it on Game Pass or on an Xbox.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's that should be the answer, right? But I mean, it remains to be seen how Microsoft really wants to use this. I mean, like,
This is the first example with Stalker.
yeah, I mean, well,
Apparently now,
right, but I mean, like, Stalker is a great thing, but the true test really should be all of Bethesda's titles, and the smart thing to do. You bought the company, make the company work for you, make it an asset, that makes your product the destination for their products. Make all their stuff exclusive. Just do it. You know what I mean? I don't understand why they should even debate it. I really just don't. I mean, like they acquired it for a reason. And if they don't make it out and outright exclusive, do something ridiculous. Make it don't give it a year timed exclusivity. Make it 2 years. I mean, something so ridiculous to the point it's like, look, it may not be a technical console exclusive, but for all intents and purposes, it is. You know what I mean? And honestly, they should spend whatever money it takes to make that happen. Only if they're interested in actually making their platform a destination of desire for the market. Currently, it's mitigating returns. It's not the industry leader. You know, people are not they don't go to boxes being and say, yeah, that's the de facto place to be anymore, because they don't have that stable of games. They don't have that rep of quality. You know what I mean? They just don't have it that Sony has. It's just not the same.
yeah, I agree with you on that. I think them making more exclusive stuff is just going to give us it's just going to give better competition against Sony, and that'll only be better for the consumer at the end of the day. You know, that
Yeah.
just it lights that flame up of Sony saying, okay, we gotta buckle down on what we want for exclusives. We gotta make Final Fantasy 16 a proper exclusive for PlayStation, and
But you know
PC.
what
So
though?
you
But you know what? It's also, yeah. Again, the race for exclusives is very eerily similar to the race for for content exclusivity on all the streaming platforms. But beyond that, the whole the aspect of the competitive angle, the boost in competition, it's going to inspire Sony to do even more of what they've already been doing, which is namely uh, implementing their first party studios to deliver new IPs that are just as quality and worthy of being a part of the first party Sony family. It doesn't always have to be just like sequelitis, chasing after more sequels of known successes. Sony has proven that they are willing to do new things and throw their first parties a bone and say, hey, let's get a new win. Let's try. Hey, with the Order 1886, it happened. Good looking game, could have been a lot more, but maybe that wasn't the best game in the world, but man, it had so much potential and promise there. They could go ahead very easily and say, hey, Sucker Punch, give us something new, and they have the confidence in their people to go do it. So that competitive pursuit is like, well, if Sony is gonna, or if Microsoft is gonna scoop up studios for exclusive content of known successes of the past, well, cool. We may not have to actually buy any more studios to do it. We'll just have the studios we have say, we're going to create our own brand new thing. We don't need to buy them. We don't need to chase them like Disney. We're going to legitimately farm them. We're going to create them from the assets that we have right now. So
this is one of the reasons why I give the new first parties that come out from Sony a very big chance, and a decent shot as to, like, okay, I'm gonna take your game, impress me. What can you do? Well, what are you gonna do to wow me in this game?
right.
Prime example of that is Ghost. I mean, that wowed me to a point where I was like, wow, this is insane. This has replaced my need for an Assassin's Creed. This just was fantastic. I loved it. I'd love to see what they do with things like Returnal. Like, what does that pan out to be? Does it pan out to be another Order 1886, or does that pan out to be something like Ghost?
Right.
Adam, any thoughts before we wrap this up?
Nah.
Alrighty then. Giuseppe, you are good to wrap us up.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for episode 23 of Crafting a Chat. First one of 2021. Yeah, we ran a little bit long, but you know what? We're just trying to get back into the swing of things, and hopefully with a new, hopeful outlook with some really promising games, hopefully this year. Hopefully they'll be actually up to snuff. But remember, as what we've said in previous casts, just don't trust what the company says. Do your research. Watch the gameplay footage. Read some articles. Don't just buy what they say. And hopefully 2021 is going to be great for all of us. Keep that head up. Positive outlook. Games are great. Games are fun. Don't be dicks. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Use your mask.
Stay safe. Don't go to the UK. Different strain over there. Be careful. Don't go traveling where you don't need to travel.
It's in the U.S. now, too.
Oh, yeah, I heard it's in California and Colorado, I think. Twitch.tv/crafting a chat. And I think that's it from us.
That's from your boys, Adam, Genesis, Giuseppe Jones, signing off, Crafting the Chat. We love you. See you next week. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.